Welcome to episode 116 of the Left Behind Game Club. This week, we play Hitman 2 Part 2. If this is your first time checking out our Hitman 2 series, you might want to go back to episode 115, check that out first, and then come back to this once you're done. Let's get right into it.
You're listening to the Left Behind Game Club.
Welcome to the Left Behind Game Club, our never-ending attempt to make sure that no game is left behind. I'm your host, Jacob McCourt, and today I have three friends with me. The first friend, you know him, you love him. His name is Michael Ruffalo.
I'm excited to talk about a very great episode of a very great game.
Here to talk about a very great episode of a very great game is our second friend, Mo Murtati.
I am so excited. We're in Miami. We got fast cars. We got weapons. I'm excited for this one.
Would this be appropriate to sing Tracy Chapman's Fast Car?
I don't know that song, but
it's never appropriate.
We're going to have some words later. Our third guest, a UI UX designer from IO Interactive, is Morten Elgaard. Morten, thanks for coming on the show today.
Woo! Thanks for having me and asking me to do so.
Yeah, well, you've been in the Left Behind Game Club community since we did the first Hitman series, I believe, almost 2-ish years ago. So obviously we have to have you on the show today. Do you want to tell the folks listening a little bit about yourself before we get into it?
Sure. My name is Morten. I've been at IO Interactive for 3 years now, working as a UI designer at a small 5-man UI team at IO. Trying to make everything like as clear and visible to players of the Hitman games to make sure that they kill their targets in the correct way.
That's what we're really excited to talk about with you today is because we love this game, the first game, the second game so far, and you'll be able to bring us like some really unique insights. So again, thank you for coming on. We are very happy to have you. And with that, let's give you the briefing for this episode.
Good afternoon, 47. Your destination is the annual Global Innovation Motor Race in Miami, Florida. After analyzing the data from Reynard's computer, the case is clear. The Providence defectors are Robert and Sierra Knox, head of robotics developer Kronstadt Industries. A visionary inventor and technological innovator, Robert Knox has spearheaded Kronstadt Industries to the bleeding edge of technological development. His equally brilliant daughter, Sierra, is not only a financial wizard, but also a fiercely competitive race car driver, with a fiery temper to match. Kronstadt enjoys enormous popularity with global consumers. However, few are aware that the company is also one of the world's leading suppliers of next-gen military tech. Last year, despotic ruler Jin Po employed prototype Kronstadt drones against peaceful civilian protesters in the now infamous Tungan Valley incident. And although it has yet to be proven, there is little doubt that the Knoxes personally brokered the deal, making them complicit in a war crime. It is unclear why the Knoxes would betray their masters, but likely the fear of being next on the Shadow Clients hit list has pressured them to cut a deal with the enemy. Undoubtedly, with Kronstadt Industries on their side, the militia will increase their attacks tenfold, and so our contract obligates us to retire Robert and Sierra Knox and contain the damage they may inflict on Providence. I will leave you to prepare.
All right, y'all, so that's Miami. That's what we're doing today. Before we get into that, does somebody want to tell us kind of where we left off when we started the tutorial of this game?
You know, where we last left off was a beach house in, believe New Zealand. We, killed some people. We each had our own different methods of doing that, and then escaped on the beach, hiding in some beach grass, got on a boat and drove away. And then I think we got a nice little cutscene with Agent 47's handler, kind of explaining how we were going to go from here. And I have to be honest, I am so confused when it comes to the Hitman story. There are so many backstabs, flipping the tables, double, triple, quadruple agents that I'm at a loss. But it all seems very cool. It all seems very fun and like the best parts of like evil villains in Bond movies.
Michael, you don't like secret organizations that like have an objective but then secretly may have a different objective, and an agent who is like the hero who like is learning about his past. Like, that's Hitman. Like, it's simple, baby.
I love it. It's a ton of fun. But yes, I'm definitely lost in parts of the story.
All right, well, let's at least set up this piece of the Miami. So your targets in this case, as mentioned in the briefing, Robert and Sierra Knox. They're a father-daughter team that run the robotics company Kronstadt. Could somebody help me here? That was funny. Kronstadt Industries. Thank you. Kronstadt Industries.
Easy for you to say.
Oh, wow. They deal in next-gen military tech. And there's some funny business going on. But beyond that, Sierra is like the CFO of the company and drives race cars in her spare time. I guess she's like a real Elon Musk-esque figure. Likes to do crazy high-risk stuff in her spare time. This is the point in the show where we will walk through and tell you everyone's scores. And typically what we do is whoever has the lowest score goes first. So unless Mike or Morten had something else, we'll get into the scores. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I would just add that while the the voiceover video intros give you a ton of really cool context, easy for me to say, and set up the mission really, really well. I love reading through the full bio and story for each of the individual targets, because I think one of the cool things that I found out is she joined the finance department of her father's company secretly and worked her way up to, I think, like interview for the CFO role or something like that, and surprised her father as being one of the candidates. And I was like, oh, there's some like interesting father-daughter dynamic here too, like really trying to prove herself. And you see that in the things that you find out about the character as you play the game, like the shot-for-shot competition that ends up happening. So anyways, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I just want to add that Sierra is a race car driver because she has an inferiority problem with her father. Yeah, complex with her father, Robert, because he hasn't put that much attention to her. And in his younger days, he was also a race car driver, but had a bad crash, and that's why he's badly burned at part of his face.
I recognized the burning, but I didn't see any of the backstory as to what that was. I must have skimmed over that. That makes a lot of sense.
And actually also the one who's arranging the next generation race is actually an old rival for Robert Knox. So there is a mission story where you can, he wants to really thwart Robert and make Sierra pay for his old vengeance. So that's also.
I love that so much. And Michael, you were saying it's confusing. Vengeance, revenge. That's the story here.
I'm not saying it's confusing. I'm just saying I've got a small brain and I got confused.
That's fair. You do have a small brain. Let's get into the part where we talk about our scores. So why don't Mo, you go first and let us know. Do you want me to just share your score, Mo?
Sure. However we want to do it. We could go like low to high or high to low. So maybe Jacob, you do like a drum roll and tell us who the lowest is, and then maybe they go first. Maybe it's me.
Yeah. Okay. So I have compiled the scores for this episode, and I'm going to go through them, and we're going to share our stories in Hitman 2 The Finish Line, one by one, starting with the lowest score, which is, drumroll please, unsurprising, it's me. I'm at the bottom, 63,060, which is 2 stars, not too bad compared to previously how I played this game, 0 stars a lot of the time.
Not at all.
Mike is in third place with 92,596, which is a really great score at 3 stars, but is not good enough to take down our 2 at the top. Morten is in second place with 126,291, and in first place, the king, the new king, it's Mo, our chief guns officer himself, giving the bullets to everybody.
I'm not sure I've seen Mo like have a visceral reaction like that with that much enthusiasm ever.
Okay, It's not because Morton's on the call, but Hitman is one of my favorite game series. I've played like Conviction way back when. Hitman 2016 was great. Absolution. I love these games. So when we like talk about our scores, it brings out that inner like, dude, this is one of my favorite games. And the fact that I won, I'm like, yes, this is probably the only time I'm gonna win. So I'm gonna milk it and savor it as much as I can.
This was such a great mission. I don't want to hop too far into some of my thoughts, but Jacob, walk us through what you're playing.
Yeah, and y'all know how I play this game. I play this game like a dodo bird who just like I have shiny thing syndrome where I'm like, ooh, chance to kill, and I just do it when I have the opportunity. So I was a little proud of myself because half of this mission I took in like a really deliberate and like well thought out way, and then as I tend to, the second half of the mission was just a cluster for me. So I first started by going around to the back of Kronstadt Industries and ended up finding Ted Mendez. So Ted Mendez, if y'all know, he's like a military contractor talking on his phone really loudly about like the deal that he's going to do. And so quickly took him out, took his uniform, and what I ended up doing is entering as him. You get to meet Robert Knox because they're working on this next generation of like Android killing devices that you essentially put someone's picture in front of a scanner and that person will be targeted for murder. There's an elegant way to do it, and maybe one of y'all did the elegant way, but I couldn't figure out how to get a picture of Robert Knox in time. So what I ended up doing is following him around, kind of just like really terribly, like for a while. And he finally got out to a balcony at one point.
Yes,
he got out to a balcony. He's got one guard with him. So for me, it was like, no, it was screwdriver or sharp object. I forget what it was to Robert Knox. And then just quickly like doing the like punch knockout to his guard. So not great, but hey guys, I did it.
Jacob, you're so close to perfection.
Yeah. Mo was like, just push him off the... No, I have to throw sharp objects. That's my thing. They don't call me the screwdriver for no reason.
You're trying to
to
tighten a screw.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So that was like a 3 out of 5 elegance wise, and then for me, like it totally falls apart for Sierra Knox. So I end up walking around a lot. I know that there's a mascot that's involved. I couldn't figure out a spot where I could quietly take out the mascot. I'm not going to get into what the paths you can take because I don't want to spoil what y'all potentially had done. But for me, I ended up finding some rat poison. And so there's a point where Sierra and her assistant go up into like one of those like food tents. And I think her assistant, there's a water bottle. And so I put poison in the water bottle. The assistant takes it. And I thought like, oh, cool. She's going to like leave and I'm going to have Sierra to myself and it's going to be perfect. That doesn't really happen. So I got impatient, and what I ended up doing was just doing the same thing to both of them, where I think I threw like a blunt object, not a sharp object, but like a dull object at the assistant, and then threw a sharp object at like Sierra and ran away. Unfortunately for me, not elegant at all, so I had to just like run away as people were shooting me in the level. I didn't have a crowbar, so I couldn't escape out of the at the sewer, so I had to run all the way across the level and like find a van to get into or find like a gate to get out of. So guys, my solution was not elegant, but I did the thing. I did the murder.
But you got
I
it
did
done.
the thing.
You got
and
it
that's
done.
what's great. Like, get me out of the way first because I do dumb stuff. And then Mike's like, I curated this wonderful kill where she ate this food, took a shot, was in the bathroom, murder. Like, I'm just excited to hear what you did, Mike, because you always do it so much better than I do.
Mike is very sophisticated. He probably was like, I fabricated a new alloy, created a blade, and let it float because it weighed less than air and it went into their eye. Like, it's like, wait, what?
I mean, yeah, I am the artisanal killer. I will say that I clearly did not get the best kills because I am in third place. But the way that I approached it was... So I initially launched into the level and just spent a lot of time just wandering around, finding a million different paths and a million different things to do. And then my connection to the servers dropped and I had to restart the level. which actually worked out for the best because I realized what I wanted to do. So started right from the gate, walked through, got frisked by the guy, walked up to the stands and found someone from the pit crew there who's very disgruntled that his boss is not very friendly. And I follow him over to the porta potty, choke him out, put on his clothes, dump him in a dumpster, and make my way over to the pit crew. I almost get caught a bajillion times. We were talking a little bit about this before we recorded, but every time I saw that yellow marker, I just started sprinting away from it to make sure that I did not get caught or in trouble, or that they were suspicious of me. And grab the I'm blanking on what it's called, but it was essentially that wrench gun.
Torque wrench.
Waited for her to come in for her final pit stop, and then tampered with the wheels because unfortunately I did not have the sugar to put into the engine or some of the other items that you could do to sabotage the car. Destroyed the wheels. Watch the little cutscene as she pulls out, gets destroyed, clearly is murdered, and then went to do the rest of the race, the remainder assassination. What I thought was like really comical along the way was how the race just continues, and the dialogue of the people is as if nothing serious has happened, as if no one has just been murdered in front of their eyes in a fiery car crash. But I think that's understandable considering just how many paths and different ways that you can take this mission or this approach. Then I snuck my way in with the pit suit up across the racetrack. Fumbled with a sink. Had a nerdy guy in a tie, gray shirt and tie come in to take care of it, choked him out, put him in the locker, wore his clothes around, found the AI, demonstration that you were talking about, Jacob, and I heard, you need to go find Mendez's clothes, or you need to go find Mendez. Tracked him out to a corner, choked him out by a bush, hit him behind a fern, wore his outfit up to it, had a talk with our target, and then got very frustrated because all along the way I had been picking up all of these different cards with different faces of people, but I had not found the target's photo.
Gotcha. Okay.
So he does the demonstration, and I'm just sitting there frustrated, thinking like, how am I going to get this computer, this AI, to start shooting at him? So when I walk up to him later, I realize, I can ask him to do this again. So I just start running around the top floor of the executive level, and I find a conference room with a bunch of guys talking through the ethics of AI murdering robots, which I really did appreciate. But I didn't spend much time there debating it with them. I just grabbed the cover of a magazine with his face on it, went back there and said, hey, let's do it again. And allowed the AI to assassinate him, and then slow strolled out of there to the gates, and that was how I did it. I fortunately was not caught by any cameras, was not spotted. Tried to have the most stealthy, would not know 47 was there as possible.
I think it's really interesting on this level specifically how the race takes place for about 20 minutes. So if you want to kill Sierra first while she's racing, you have to do it in the first 20 minutes. I think I took something like 27 minutes to do mine, which means that like as soon as she got out of her race car, I was like, time for murder. But to beat this game, you essentially have to pick Sierra. You don't have to. Nope. But it's probably easier to pick Sierra first. And Morten's like, no, that's the brilliance of our game.
I don't think so either.
But the thing is about the races, yes, it ends in 20 minutes, but you can alter the race in multiple ways to either disqualify Sierra, so she loses the race, and she will lose the race by default. Her rival, Moses Lee from the Chinese Kowloon company, he will actually win the race. at one point of the level, there is a race marshal in a little tower opposite the stands. If you take him out and take his disguise, you can disqualify Moses Lee or Sierra. So if you disqualify Moses Lee, Sierra wins the race, and she will enter the podium, which leads to other kill opportunities. You can, of course, also dress out as a mechanic for Moses Lee's team, do the pit stop with him, sabotage his car so that he is also disqualified and loses.
So I need to ask, is the race master the guy with an orange vest, the headset, and the binoculars?
Yes, that is correct.
Because, I snuck past him. I choked him out on a couple of occasions before I reloaded, realizing that I didn't need to take care of him. I could just walk past him with my mechanic's outfit.
There are multiple race marshals throughout the level.
Okay. Love it.
Morten, I think you're up.
Okay, well, I guess just for people who haven't played the Miami level, I can just say that it's a level split in two, where one part is all about the race, like stands, lots of fans, and you can go around and see all the different teams. And the other part of the level is the Kronstadt building, which used to be an aquarium, but has been taken over and is slowly being converted into like their showroom and such. And down the middle of the level, there is the racetrack with overpasses over between the two parts, and you can also go under in a car park. Now, I've played this level quite a bit, so I had unlocked a few items. So I decided to take a proximity mine and a lockpick, because, lockpicks are always good, and the proximity mine, I had something in mind with that. And I could complete this level very quickly and get a 5-star rating because I know how to do so, but that wouldn't really be interesting for this podcast. So I decided to play as if 47 was a vengeful spirit, or like a cat playing with its prey, you could say.
Okay.
So I started out from the standard position, like looking at the racetrack. I went under the racetrack and to the Kronstadt building. And just at the right, there is like this fenced gate, which I lockpick. And I ran up some stairs, and then you are at this overpass, but you can also enter the Kronstadt building. It's like the second floor. So I went in there. I picked up some item that was in this maintenance room on the table just on the left. And then I continued through the room, which brings you to like these walkways in the Kronstadt building. But if you just turn right there, there's an open window, and you get out onto a ledge over the racetrack. And then I climbed a drain pipe, and then I was on the third level, on top of the Kronstadt building. And you can do this very quickly.
This is like some Assassin's Creed stuff, like just climbing up ladder.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I decided to like lure in one of the security guards who have this brown suit, and just choked him out and took his suit. And that's a really good disguise because you can walk across most of the level actually with it. And just there is this small bathroom with some eye drops, and I went in there and I put something in him. And then I went to Robert Knox's office, and you can hear his guards discuss that, he's very fussy about the air quality and the temperature because of his former burn damage. So I fiddled with the temperature there. And he comes in and he gets really angry. Who messed with this temperature? I've told you several times not to do it. And then he walks off to the small bathroom to take his eye drops. And I followed him there and slowly stood there. And then he picks them up and he puts them in his eye. And then he has a really bad reaction to putting rat poison into his eye for some reason.
For some reason.
Yeah, I could, of course, also have brought lethal poison, but I thought that would be too easy.
Yeah.
And then he walks out into the bathroom, and, you could then, slam dunk his head into the toilet. again, a little too easy. So we are not even getting started with making him pay for whatever he's done. So after I'd done that, I walked down again and down to the crossway, got over to the other side of the racetrack. And just when you enter the race area normally, there is this security area just on the right. Lots of normal security guards. Inside that, you can hear there's a two-way mirror where they're interrogating a race marshal, asking him, we caught you with a device. Why did you have this? And he's just like, oh, it's for Moses Lee. He really likes fireworks and, something like that. And there is a small notepad you pick up in the central area of that security area, which opens up, gives you the code for, what's it called? A safe. Inside, you find a remote explosive and a note. And a note telling you to plant this on Moses Lee's car and dial the number afterwards when you're done.
Oh, shoot.
So I made my way over to the paddocks, or like the different teams' garages. I choked out a Kronstadt mechanic, took his disguise, and then I went in and did the whole thing about doing the pit stop with Sierra, planted the explosive device on her car, which is one of the standard things that you can do. And at any time, you can then press the button and she dies. But we're not done yet. So, so after this, I'm going to skip over a bit because I did something that we'll get back to later. But after I'd run a bit around the level, I went to a payphone and I called the number. And it's Robert Knox who takes the phone call. And he goes, oh, it's done. Great. Meet me at the overpass. So I make my way back there. I take up the old brown security guard uniform and I meet him at the top of this overpass. And he has this long speech about tomorrow they'll just say that it was a terrorist attack and they won't know what happened. And Sierra will win. And then you give him the remote explosive device. And then he watches as Moses Lee and Sierra comes running up through the race hall just below him. And he says, this is for you. And then he presses the button and Sierra's car explodes, gets out and burns.
Man.
And then he just stands there and goes, this wasn't supposed to happen. I don't understand. How? Why?
Wow.
And 47 is just standing there looking at him, saying nothing with his cold stare. And then he goes, oh, I get it. It's kind of elegant in a way. I won't do anything stupid again. I'll go back to being part of this organization. Now, if you'll excuse me, then I think I need a bit of time for myself. And he's standing right close to the edge of this overpass. So you could at any point just, give him a slight push over the edge and down onto the racetrack. But again, that's a bit too easy. So the thing is that after he's done this and been emotionally scarred for life, or at least what's left of it anyway, he will try and make his way to the helicopter pad that's at the top of the Kronstadt building. So I follow him a bit. I quickly choke out his guard because I don't want him to be involved anymore. And I just follow Robert Knox slowly. This guy who gave him the remote explosive just minutes before, walking past behind him. And then I run past him and up onto the helipad, being careful not to get too close to what I've planted up there, a few steps from the helicopter.
Remind me never to double cross you, Morten.
Proximity mine.
Proximity mine and a propane tank and a Kronstadt booster. And the Kronstadt booster is this small explosive device that they use for their race cars to make them run very much faster. So as he is a few steps from the helicopter and getting away, the proximity mine explodes and it sends him flying. And I got a screenshot where he's like flying in the air, looking down at the helicopter with this slightly puzzled look at what just happened. And luckily for me, he landed somewhere on the roof of the Kronstadt building and not in front of it where there's a lot of tourists, though that, of course, would have been interesting also.
Man.
And now I've killed the 2 targets and I just have to leave. And I decided that, taking the helicopter, that would be a bit too easy. It's just up there. So I decided that I would use the secret dolphin exit.
What?
Yes.
There's dolphins now?
Yes. Of course there's secret exits.
Let me guess. You walk up to the water and you like whisper into your microphone, Morten. And then all of a sudden the dolphins show up. It's like a UI hack that no one knows about.
No, you can find videos about how to do it online because, of course, the community have found a lot of these secret exits. I think they have found all of them, of course. But the thing is that you need to have a fish equipped for it to be possible to do. And I hadn't brought a fish. But, of course, the Kronstadt building is a former aquarium. And there are aquariums down there still. So I go down there. And there are 2 security guards just walking around, patrolling the area. And they stop in front of one of the aquariums and have a brief talk. And, I could knock them out, but instead I take my science gun and I shoot a couple of times at the aquarium glass. And it shatters and it makes the water spill out and both guards fall over and be knocked out. So now it's those 2 are taken care of. So, unfortunately, there wasn't a fish in that tank. And there are quite a few tanks. So, it took a few tanks and a bit of flooding to find out that it was in number 7 that there was a fish that I needed.
Just carnage, straight carnage.
So this is a 6-star kill for sure. This is a 7-star kill.
Yeah, for real.
How did you only end up getting 4 stars?
It was the Kronstadt mechanic that I chirped out. I hadn't decided to put him in a box, so I got a bit lazy about that.
Wow, that was amazing.
Now I got the fish.
That's just bravo.
Yeah, now I got the fish, and I thought, leaving on 2 dolphins, that's cool and all, but what's cooler is leaving as a flamingo riding 2 dolphins. So I went down to the garage level, and I knocked the flamingo mascot out with the fish, took his uniform, and went up to in front of the Kronstadt building. There is this sculptures of silver dolphins.
I saw those. Okay.
And when you so when you have the fish equipped, only one of the fountains will spray water. And then when you run into that one, another one will spray water. So you run between those very quickly, and then the exit prompt will be at the center of the fish, the dolphins. And then when you exit it, 47 will be riding 2 dolphins and doing like a Superman pose, kinda. And that was it.
I love it.
So,
bravo.
Well done. That was possibly one of the most impressive kills that we've had anytime we've ever played a Hitman game. So
yes.
I have no idea how Mo's going to top this. Like,
I'm
zero
not.
idea.
We can just end it now. I just did a couple things, but wow. I need to now discover some Easter eggs for the next episode or something.
That totally explains the fish that I unlocked after completing that mission.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that you have to play the Hitman levels multiple times to find out. So
I feel like the Miami level is the one that you're like. I mean, I'm sure there's probably more, but this is the first time I've felt like there are just so many more paths that I could have taken that I even realized. That I feel compelled to go back and play multiple times.
I just want to know, like, this Miami level, to Mike's point, seems enormous from like a footprint perspective. Is this level larger than anything that's in Hitman 1?
I think so, but it actually isn't the biggest level in Hitman 2.
Ooh.
But
so there's bigger.
Well, yes and no. Because the biggest level is actually the first mission that you played.
Oh.
Though it doesn't seem like it.
Oh, by like
because
space.
Most of it's just closed off because you can't enter those areas. But like footprint-wise, that's the biggest one. But But else, Mumbai is really also up there, and I think that's like the 4th level.
I can't wait.
Mo.
All right, Mo.
Alrighty.
Take a crack at what you attempted.
For sure. So I'm trying to redeem myself from the first level, the intro level, because I felt like I rushed it, and I wanted to be the silent assassin as much as I could. I'm going to be giving you a lot of the strategies I use for whenever I play a Hitman game, and the first thing I essentially do is just recon. Go around the entire map, try to discover as many ways to like take down like the clients as possible, and then like once I kind of find one that interests me or I like, I'll like move forward from it. When I have a 2-target like game or a 3-target game, I'll try to kill one of them and see if I can find like an immediate way to do it. That way I can tackle the next one with more time, because I'm on that time crunch where I want to finish it quick too. My mind's like, I need stars. How do I do it? Be quiet, do it quick, and maybe be fancy about it. Like try to find something unique to keep you entertained. So I love it. The first thing I do, I'm walking around just like how Mike mentioned, to the paddock where all the racing is happening. I'm trying to figure out like what to actually do. I'm trying to figure out some events that maybe pop up, but nothing was coming out, and I just wasn't able to connect any of the dots. I overheard, hey, you have to mess with the car or something. So when Mike mentioned it, I was like, I missed it. That's exactly what I kind of wanted to do. So I left there and started exploring more. And then I started playing with uniforms and trying to find the super user, the one that can get me through most of the places untouched. So I dressed up as a cook, dressed up as a mechanic, dressed up as a race car driver, and everything in between.
What I always love in these games is like the hierarchy between different uniforms and positions. So like a event security guard doesn't have as much clearance and power, I guess, as like Kronstadt security. So like to me that's always very interesting to see, like, where does this costume actually get me? If I'm a server, can I get everywhere? The answer is no. But that's always fun. And Mo, it sounds like you figured out what the hierarchy was here.
More or less, yeah. They all kind of follow the same thing, Jacob. If you have a security guard, you can get through most things. If you have the brown suit fancy security guard, you can get through a lot more, and so on and so forth. But it was a lot of just messing around. I was dressed as a paramedic for some things. But you know what? Let's just get started on how I got my first kill. I restarted the game, and I tried to figure out, hey, I just went straight into like the race. I went through like the entrance where the gate was. So I was like, I'm not going to do that. Let me just go left or right. I go completely left and to the front entrance of the Kronstadt like facility, like that landing area where the dolphins were. And I saw a fancy guy in his military garb. And it said, this is Officer Mendez. Like he's like meeting whatever, an opportunity is about to emerge. So I stand next to him, and he's talking about how last time he had a meeting with this Kronstadt guy, he left him and didn't visit him, like he left him waiting 5 hours, blah, blah, blah. But apparently there's an appointment coming up where Kronstadt's going to show him his latest weapon system, the thing you guys were mentioning.
Yep.
Fast forward to how I take him down, because the first objective is to dress up as Mendez. So he goes to like the side to, I think, smoke a cigarette. Mm-hmm. I turn on like a generator thing. He walks in, a nice little bop on the head.
Oh, you did it elegantly, unlike me, who I was just like, bup.
No detection. That's the goal. No detection. So I take him out and put him in, like, there's a little convenient bin, tossed him in there, dressed up as him. And now I almost have a super user suit, because it seemed like he could go everywhere without being bothered. He can get through all the Kronstadt security pretty much. I walk up, I see the interaction, and he says, oh, Kronstadt will come see you soon. So I go to the location where the demo is, where you can see like the dummies and like the one in the middle that can like shoot things kind of. And Kronstadt walks in, he starts talking about how this is the perfect soldier, you won't need anything, you can just show it some biometric data, and then it'll decide who's an enemy and who's not an enemy just based off of a photo. And he's like, this is the best system ever, it works perfectly. Very Tony Stark confidence that my stuff works, like I don't have issues kind of thing, which is like the whole thing with Tony, he's a genius kind of. So he's like, this is how it works, I just scan a photo of the dummy, and it picks up a gun and shoots the dummy right in the head. And he's like, watch, look how confident I am, I want you to demo it. He tells me to go pick up cards on the table and scan anyone, whichever one I want, and he's standing in between them, and the robot shoots right in between. And I'm like, wow, cool, but how do I kill you? Because there's like 4 guards in that room. So I'm like, okay, yeah, this is neat. And he's like, okay, I'm going to show you another facility. Takes me to another room. He's like, look at all this stuff. I'm like, okay, great. Can I kill you now? No chance whatsoever. As that's finishing up, he walks out. He's like, if you want another demo, let me know. And I'm like, okay. So the like objective was missed essentially because I didn't really do anything. So I'm like, okay, I'm dressed up as this military guy, pretty much useless. Walking down the staircase, I'm like, what did I do wrong? And then I walk past a magazine stand, and it's like, do you want to take a photo of Kronstadt? Because he's the cover person on the actual magazine. So when you go up to it, he just rips off a piece of the photo of the front page, and I'm like, that's where I need to get it. Oh my goodness. So I restart the game. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start exactly where I want. I go beeline for Mendez, get Mendez's suit, get through to the facility. As soon as he's standing there, I just scan his face, and this is something to what Morten was saying. So Kronstadt gets shot by the robot because I scanned a photo of Kronstadt, and everyone's like, whoa, it's something broke.
Oh, you mean Knox? Knox gets shot.
Robert Knox.
Yes, Robert Knox,
Kronstadt.
sorry. Sorry, yeah. Robert Knox gets shot by the robot, and everyone's like, oh my god, it was an accident. But it's like, if you just looked at the card I placed, it's a photo of Kronstadt. I literally murdered him. But I'm like, all right, cool. They're like, undetected, like accident kill, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just walking along. Before that, Jacob, when I missed my opportunity, I ended up following Knox around, and I noticed that he had one guard around him. So before I restarted, I kind of choked out the one guard, and then he walks out to that patio balcony, and I kicked him over. And I'm like, oh, okay. But like Morten said, it's too easy. And that's when I restarted, and I started to do it the Mendez way, to shoot him in the head with the robot. So that happens. I'm like, okay, perfect. I'm going to save right now, because my first task is done, and I did it really quick. What I do from there is, okay, I have to somehow get, what's her name?
Sierra Knox.
Sierra Knox. Oh my gosh, I have to somehow get it, but she's still racing around, and I couldn't figure out like the gear thing. So I was like, I'll just walk around. I'll try to discover some new paths. I get to like the basement area of the Kronstadt building because I remember I have the Mendez suit on, and I discover a security room. I'm like, yes. These little cameras that have been recording me all day, every day, I'm going to delete the content on there. That way we're not scanned, and I can get that bonus point. Conveniently, it was right where I finished the Robert Knox murder, so I was two things at once. I get to the basement, and this is where I see the mascot guy that Morten mentioned, and this is the situation that's set up. I'm walking into a hallway, and the mascot is looking down a hallway, and he's like, hey, can you go pick up my keys? They're over there. So I say, okay, sure. So I start walking to the keys, and there's some guy who's been mugged and beat up, and he's like, someone stole my suit.
Yeah, that was so weird.
Yeah, he's like, someone stole my suit. Meanwhile, the guy's down the hall. It's like, bro, turn around. Like, he's right there looking at you.
If you walk through the crowd, you actually hear some people explain what's happening. And I believe he's a stalker.
Makes sense.
I believe the guy in the suit. Is that right, Morten? Is he a stalker?
The guy who now has the flamingo suit... He's trying to, extortionate Sierra Knox because he has certain papers about them selling weapons.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. So with that being said, when I first finish the security mission and I see the flamingo guy, the first thing I do is let me just follow his path. But I don't know what this storyline is with this flamingo guy, so I'm just going to continue on pace to find a way to kill Sierra. I'm not connecting the dots that he's going to be a way for me to take her down. Spoiler alert. So I follow him, and as I'm going through, he checks a minivan for some documents. I'm like, what was that about? He starts walking back around to like the medical facility and goes into like a courtyard that's outside past like the medical facility. And I see him talking to the security guard there, and the security guard lets him in. While that's happening, there's a medical mission like popping up saying, hey, do you want to use this mission? And what I learned is Sierra is taking some injections to help her with pain. And there's an opportunity where you can dress up as a doctor and you can inject her, but you have to find a lethal syringe to do that. So I'm like, okay, that sounds pretty interesting. Let me just kind of give that a shot. So I find a medical suit, and I walk in. I impersonate the medical officer. However, in order to get the costume for the medical, like the doctor, he's currently trying to get a urine sample from like a racing driver, and there was not enough time to like get this guy like taken care of and take the suit from him. So I found a suitcase, and I was carrying it the whole time. I had no idea what it was used for, but I just wanted to carry the suitcase. So I bopped the guy on the head, and then I also he noticed me first. I was like, shoot, I was detected because the race car driver saw me bop the medical officer in the head.
Yeah, just a quick note on how to get the race driver to pee who can't. If you turn on the tap that's behind him, water flows.
It was right there.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
That makes sense. I'm like, why is it? Because there's that, and then there's like a hook thing to like hurt someone. I'm like, okay, I can't use that. That's the Jacob method. I'm doing the Mo method. So that's good to know. So you turn on the tap to get, because this guy is having trouble peeing. But regardless, I knocked both of them out, and I was detected. And in my head, I'm like, I lost my bonus. I'm gonna redo this, but let me just see what happens from here. As I'm waiting for Sierra, she finishes the race. I go to like PA her on the system and say, paging Sierra Knox, like we want to do the treatment or whatever. When she's walking back, it's taking like 4 or 5 minutes, and I start tracking the map, like the world map, and I see that she's going into that courtyard where the mascot was the whole time while I'm waiting for her to like get to like my spot. And not only that, I get a little like a window pop up glimpse, like a glimpse of her pushing down the like mascot guy through like a ditch thing, and they're alone. I'm like, whoa, they're together alone? And I just walked past that mascot, restart right after the security. So I start at the security thing. I'm like, I'm figuring out a way to get your costume, because that's going to be like the way to do her like very easily, and no one will see anything. Because in order to kill her as the doctor, you're in like a hospital. People can see. Like it wasn't fun. So I kind of skipped it there. Dress up as the mascot. Make a beeline to that area, to like that little urban market, like the outdoor garden area. I get in there with the documentation that the guy was looking at in the minivan, and he's like, the guy tells me, do you have the paperwork? Conveniently, I did pick it up because I saw the mascot pick it up, and he's like, okay, Sierra will be with you momentarily. Sierra eventually comes to me right away into the thing, and she's like, do you have the documentation? Do you have the dirt on my father? I want to make sure like it's not something about like the incriminating information is in this thing. We walk around the facility by ourselves, and she tells her guards, we need to talk quietly. This is sensitive information. And she's like, what you're going to do now is give me that documentation, and there's no ways around this. I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. I give her the documentation. She stands in front of that, like, remember I told you there was a window that popped up where she pushed someone down like a garbage chute kind of thing? She's standing over it, and I went full, like, 300 Sparta and just front kicked her. She falls through into the pit, and it's like, congratulations, Agent 47. I'm like, yeah. So I start running as a silly bird, as the flamingo guy, all the way through the crowd, all the way through the front door, jump into the gate, open it, and I'm out of there. Perfect, silent assassinations. No one's seen me, and it's not as fun as Morten's kills, but I enjoyed the heck out of it.
I give you a golf clap anyway, Mo.
Thank you.
I think that was worth it.
I have one quick question, and it's about the picture-in-picture stuff. Morten, in the first game, I don't remember, was there the picture-in-picture, or was that picture-in-picture stuff new in the second game?
That's a new feature that was added in the second game.
And contextually, when does it kind of come up?
Well, it's the level designers who set it up. Like, for example, if a body is found, then you're shown who it is that was found. If a specific action goes on, for example, like when he says that he needs the keys for the red van, it will show the red van, so you know what you have to look for. It can also just be like important events that they don't want you to miss. So you get an idea of where to go or use a key or something like that.
There was also another feature I don't think we touched on that was I don't know. I think it was pretty helpful. When you're walking in crowds now, there's that like invisibility mode that you're almost like within the shadows. Just like in that first level when we were in the grass, that same similar like functionality is in those giant crowds. So if people were staring at you and you were bad, you almost disappeared and didn't have the alert pop up.
Yeah.
As if
the blending in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that was also added to all the previous Hitman levels. So all new features are then backwards compatible.
Oh, that's amazing. I really did love that no matter where I stepped, I knew whether I was trespassing, whether I was like it just seemed everything seemed clearer. And I felt like I was getting in less trouble because I knew where I stood with the people around me.
Yeah, that was one of the things when I started is that I looked at a lot of Twitch streams and like recordings like from Giant Bomb or Eurogamer or Outside Xbox, and you know, also specifically for like new players who are just starting out, they don't know anything about Hitman, and you know, see where do they run into trouble with the game. And one of them was that they didn't know when they were trespassing. A guard would spot them, and then they would freak out and run away and get shot. That's not super fun.
That sounds very familiar.
Yeah. And another thing was the attention indicator, like when a guard is about to spot you. Before, it wasn't quite clear like how far it would have to fill up. It was just it would show you the whole arc, and then there was a pointer in the middle of that, and that would grow, but it didn't show you like when is the maximum when he spots you. So we changed that so it expands outwards from the center and made it yellow, so it really pops into your eyes when you're walking around.
It definitely does.
One thing I have to ask you, and it's more of a thank you if appropriate. I want to know if your team was responsible for creating the arc on all of the screwdrivers that I've thrown in this game, because if you're responsible for perfecting my arc, I have to say thank you.
I think that's more gameplay that created like the throw mechanic, and then we just help. That was before my time, but they created like the visualization of where you throw stuff.
Well, either way, thank you to your team in part for making my life in Hitman very easy.
Throwing stuff is very satisfying in Hitman. It is. He never misses.
He never misses, and he throws with such like velocity. He's like a NBA or not NBA, MLB pitcher with how fast he throws.
Legit. I'm always stunned when I throw like a tin can or aluminum can at someone, and it just like disintegrates when it hits them, and it hits them with such force.
Yeah. Now, since you didn't play it from when the game was released, there was actually a bug about throwing certain items that they would, when you would throw them, they would float slowly towards the target, and that was suitcases. For some reason, the throw speed for those were slightly off. So actually, when you would throw it at someone and they would run away, then you would see the suitcase slowly following them. And when they would finally stop, it was like catch up to them and knock them out.
A special homing suitcase. I love it.
It's like a homing missile.
Yes, it's like the horror movie It Follows. That was just with suitcases. It's been fixed, but you can unlock a certain suitcase in one of the escalation missions that still moves slowly towards the target.
Is there anything else y'all want to talk about the Miami level before we close it off for this time? Mike, you've got some fire to throw our way.
Yes. So I just feel like there were so many paths to follow in this level, more than I felt in any Hitman level I'd played previously. And it just seemed like there was so many spaces, so much like level to explore. I found when, obviously I wanted to get into the VIP, because who doesn't want to be in the VIP? So once I found the mechanic suit actually allows you to get to just about all the VIP area, I went exploring, and I overheard some people talking about how every year, I'm blanking on her name.
Sierra Knox and her rival after the race do shot-for-shot drinking competition. And I was like, there's too many places that you can take care of them, and so many different ways to explore that. I realized once I had the mechanic suit that I could go into the pit crews and the garages of other racing teams as well. So I'm sure that, Morten, you already walked us through some of the ways that you could do it, but like there was just so many twists and turns at every corner. There was the whole subplot with the guy in the suit trying to blackmail Sierra or the company. There was the medic with the IV. There were so many different ways to approach this that I was just kind of awestruck, and I felt it felt kind of sad that I could only really do one path for each of them. I wanted to complete multiple. So, I feel like I say this a lot, but rarely do it. But in this case, I really do feel compelled to go back in and play it again. I guess one last note that I'd want to add to that is I think crowd mechanics in games are often so clumsy, but I think they've done a fantastic job with like just crowd chatter as well, and some of the things that you hear, and how Agent 47 moves through the crowd. It felt awesome. It felt true to life.
in as much as I have experiences relevant to this.
Yeah, you can't emphasize enough. Like, the replayability on the Hitman games is like second to none. There's so many paths, like Mike was saying, that I already know that I'm gonna go in eventually and do like a car, like murder version to take down Sierra. Because I'm starting to watch Formula One. I'm starting to like racing cars, and now I'm gonna try to figure out a way to do it just to connect those two.
Yeah, I don't know if you want me to spoil a few of the ways that you can also kill them, or if you would rather find out for yourself.
Maybe you should throw in like a little teaser. Like, for example, for the dolphin thing, you could just be like dolphin, and that's like enough of a little hint to like what is he talking about? I have to go to the water fountain. I have to look at it.
Well, there is an achievement that's called the tree falls on the apple.
Oh,
which is and it involves the two targets. So that's a specific way to take care of them both. That's very clean.
Okay.
Very cinematic in a way. Oh, but there's also like if you make Sierra win the race, there are multiple ways to kill her while she's on the podium. There's fireworks that will go off that you can, adjust. And she might drink from the chalice or the trophy that she wins. That's also a possibility. And, it changes her way to move around the level.
It's so fun.
There's also like weird spoiled food you can give out too, right? So it's not just like emetic rat poison. You can give out like expired spaghetti and make her do the throw up or do the bad bathroom time.
All that.
Yeah.
Tons of possibilities. Next time we are jumping into the next mission, which is the 3-headed serpent mission that takes place in Colombia. So stick around for that next month. Morten, again, thank you so much for coming on the show today and walking us through the ways that you kill in a much more artisanal way than we do. If there's anything you wanted to throw in there or add about this level, about Hitman 2, we'd love to hear it. But otherwise, let us know let the folks know where they can find you.
Sure. Additional things about Hitman 2, like as you say, the replayability, like that's all about what the Hitman games are about. So going through a level once, you'll only be scratching the surface of what's possible. We also try to make that a bit more clear when you now complete a level. You get shown like all of the challenges in this mosaic, which both like shows you what you did, but also emphasizes how much there's still to find in the level, and it makes you feel good about the level, even though you might not get 5 stars or whatever the basic score. But like other features that was added, besides like hiding in tall grass and crowds, there's the suitcase, there's the picture-in-picture. Ooh, just blanking out here what the new features are. There are like tons of them. But a lot of it is about like taking the Hitman game and like making it better, you could say. That didn't really work out well. It's about it's taking the Hitman formula and like improving upon it and tweaking the small things that makes it more clear and accessible to people. Because Hitman can seem like a quite intimidating game for new players. There are a lot of systems, but as Mo said, like walk around, explore, and then opportunities will pop up and you'll figure out how to go about getting close to your targets.
Getting close to them and doing other naughty things to them as well, right?
Yeah.
Mike's face right now, let me tell you. Morten, if folks want to find your work online, if they want to find you, where's the best place they can do that?
They can find me on Twitter at Morten_Elgaard. I also got a personal website called builddestroy.com, which I haven't updated for several years and now as bugs, but yeah, that's the 2 places that you can find me.
One other place you can find Morten is in the Left Behind Game Club Discord. You can find the link to that at our website at leftbehindgame.club/discord. We talk about video games. Right now, we're talking about the Mass Effect, Blasto plushie, PlayStation Plus games, and more. Again, leftbehindgame.club. You can find all things Left Behind Game Club at leftbehindgame.club, on Twitter at leftbehindclub, and on Instagram at leftbehindgameclub. You can find me on the internet at Jacob McCord on all major social media platforms. I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. I have another podcast called Cutscenes. It is a video game movie podcast. We just wrapped up season 2, and we'll be back with season 3 sometime in either 2020 or 2021. Mike, if folks want to find you and the website that you haven't updated, actually you updated your website, right? I did.
It's updated. Yep, it's finally updated. You can find me on most social places online at RuffaloM. Or michaelruffalo.com or .ca, whichever you prefer. And yeah, join me in the Discord. There's a ton of really cool people there who are always talking about great game deals and whatever's happening. So yeah, definitely join the Discord.
Mo.
You can find me on almost all social media platforms at mmertati. I'm probably most active on the Discord server as well, and on Instagram. And yeah.
And since he's here, he can actually take us home today. Michael, what do we say to him?
And that, my friends, is one less game left behind.